lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get
He missed the complete. That is crazy
Side by
stuff.
side, Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eckert.
Five out of 7 rounds have been completed so far. There are still 2 rounds to go. 2 rounds for the drivers to improve their positions in the championship table. 120 minutes of racing to stake a claim to the money prizes. Who will it be? We will find out part of the answer today. The Champion Motorsports Sprint Series is coming to you live from Suzuka Grand Prix in the land of the rising sun, Japan. The series is proudly sponsored by Woody's, suppliers of fishing lures and flies. Very good day to everybody and welcome to the Global Sim Racing channel. I am Richard Losper and with me in the booth is Kevin Brown. Our director is Joe Peak and he uses the great camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. Well, as qualifying continues, with the amateur class out there qualifying at the moment, let us play a lap guide for you so you can see what this track looks like. Go ahead, Joe.
All right, we've got Kevin Brown behind the wheel of the GSRC BMW, so let's do a lap around Suzuka. Heading down into turn 1, it's a fast kink and bleeds straight into turn 2. Going too wide into here will be difficult and dangerous. The draft may give you an opportunity, but someone will need to back out or else it's bad news. Lots of banking here in 2 to really carry your speed. After that, you're sent straight into the S's where the line is absolutely critical to a good lap time. With each corner flowing into the next, it's all about setting up for the following turn. Perhaps the most important of these is the final right-hander where you need to hug the right side to allow yourself a good run into Dunlop corner. In a GT3 car, it's flat out all the way up to Degner 1, so getting a bad exit out of the S's could leave you vulnerable. Plus, you'll see Degner 1 here is tight and fast. It's another corner that's risky to attempt going through too wide. It also leads straight into Degner 2. It's the slower corner, but more heavily embanked and rewards drivers who can carry their speed over the apex. Now we've got a little kink leading into the hairpin. This is a potential passing zone, but predicting your opponent's line can sometimes be difficult and drivers are often caught out by a sudden defensive move. Regardless, coming out of the hairpin is another place where a good exit can be extremely important. Once again, we're going to be flat to the floor all the way through turn 12. As you reach the end of it, you'll want to drift the car to the right, set up for spoon curve. This double apexer has a fast entry and a difficult threshold. Cars spinning off after going over the limit is not an uncommon sight. And just to pile on more pressure, it dumps the car onto the backstretch. Once again, the car behind will be catching your slipstream, so once you're confident you can get the power down, you better do it. Like most important turns on this track, it leads to a fast corner where being side by side can be extra dangerous. The infamous 130R requires incredible commitment and accuracy to hit your marks. And as you exit, you'll pull the car across the track and get ready for the Casio Triangle. This is another place where passes are common, but with it being a chicane, when anyone fights back, you're both going to have to give each other room and respect to come out intact. From here, we simply power down around the final corner since we've hit the pit straight, and as long as you've managed to keep it on the black stuff and pointed forwards, you've completed the lap around Suzuka.
As you can see, Suzuka is a difficult track. So many corners, easy places to really mess up, injure a race. Definitely that 130R corner, so difficult in the GT3 cars. We've seen a lot of guys spin it off in practice. Very fast track today with the cold weather and the cloudy skies. So they're setting some lap records out here. We do want to point out that on the first lap, remember this series runs the orange zone, where passing may only be used under with extreme caution on the first lap, all the way through the first hairpin. That's a turn 11 out there. But Suzuka, a lot of fun out there in these GT3 cars when you can get it nailed down. Don't you think, Richard?
Yeah, that is a fact, Kevin. Welcome to the broadcast. Our sponsor, Woodies, for all your fishing lures and flies. Just a note about the weather, as you mentioned there, Kevin. We have a mostly cloudy day. The temperature is only 76 degrees Fahrenheit. There's a slight breeze, only 8 miles an hour, and the humidity is way down at 36%. So you are quite correct. We are going to see some very fast times here, and hopefully with the extra grip, some really good racing. A note to all of those who need to know these things: all cars only have a 60% fuel capacity, one fast repair, and we are having a rolling start today. Well, let's get into the championship, Kevin. So where are we with the pro guys?
Pro Series is being led by Justin Bruner. Took over that top spot from John Paquin, and he has a 19-point lead over Jason Lundy, who also moved in front of Paquin. Remember, we don't think Paquin will be around to finish out the rest of the season. So that 19 points, that's a handy little lead. There's 35 open for the winner of each race. So that's about half a race right there. It's going to be tough ask for Jason Lundy to come back and get that lead over Bruner, but it's not impossible. In fourth place, Tom Ratchey, and in fifth, Miguel Ocrudo, as we move to the Pro-Am class, Richard.
Yeah, and leading that class is Drew Litke. He has been a stalwart in the series. Daniel Rice is in second place there, and he is a little ways back. Let me just check. He's 14 points back from the leader. Julie Redman in a very good third place, 41 points back. So she slipped back a little bit. Going to be tough for her in two races to make up a place or win the series. In fourth place, we've got Peter Hebron, and in fifth place, Alex Peterson. Let's have a look at the teams, Kevin.
And in first place is Puffin Racing. They took over the lead. I think they had about a 4-point gap on Works team. Now it is 21 points to the good. That was a great run they had last time around. In third place, Screw Loose Motorsports. Fourth, SIDR Racing. And fifth is Vortex Sim Racing, a little bit behind SIDR.
Yep, and we do have a little bit of time, not much. There's about 4 minutes left in qualifying. The amateur drivers are out there trying to set their times. We can tell you that the fastest time so far in the pro class, let me see if I've got this correct here, Kevin, was indeed I don't know, to be honest. I'll come back to that one.
Qualifying has just ended, Richard. So drivers are on their final laps. Provisional pole right now being held by Humberto Roca in the pro class, who has a monster 7/10 over Miguel Ocrudo, second in class right now.
Thank you, Kevin. I was just getting my timing and scoring to update there, and I clicked on the wrong column and got the wrong information. So thank you. Now, we do have some driver penalties that I'm looking at here, and it seems like I don't quite understand this one either. Some drivers have penalties coming way back from round number 1 and 2, so I don't think those drivers are even here today. So I don't think the penalties will affect any of the drivers in this race. Qualifying nearly complete. A quick word about the cars, Kevin. At this track, a Grand Prix track built for Formula One cars, these sports cars should go pretty well here, but which car do you think is the one that will be the strongest here?
Well, this is, Suzuka's a pretty good compromise track where it doesn't have any real overriding characteristics. So I don't think any of these cars will have a significant advantage over any of the others. So I think that they'll be equal all the way around. It's just going to be kind of who's got the skill to master Suzuka and who's got a setup that's friendly to keep them from making a mistake. I think that's going to be the most important part, is not making mistakes. And that will be the key, I believe, to a good finish tonight.
And it seems like all qualifying is now completed. We are good to have a good look at the actual results of qualifying. So let's take the top 10. It is the 111 car of Humberto Roca with a 157.592, who will take the pole position. He will be followed by Miguel Alcrudo and then Ricardo Mendez. Jared Lawson, a good 4th place there. Justin Brunner in 5th. It looks like Drew Lidke has got a 6th place. And I am seeing Sebastian Roca in 7th place. Julie Redmond in 8th. Robert Tarbox Jr. in 9th place. And Simon Goodwin in 10th place. Kevin?
In 11th is Kevin Hennings, 12th Jay Dargert, 13th David Slee, 14th Tom Ratchey, Jason Lundy in 15th, not where he wants to be, I think, as a pro driver, and second in points. 16th is Anthony James, 17th Mike Reuter, 18th Peter Hebron, 19th Christopher Burling, 20th is Troy Fagan. He is the last of the qualifiers. Darren Leslie and Alex Peterson did not set a qualifying time.
I am seeing Alex Peterson on the grid as the pace car is getting ready to start them off on the pace lap. Having a look for Darren Leslie, I can't see him on track at the moment, so we might be one short or he might be starting from the pits. Well, Kevin, excitement mounting here. Darren Leslie has just joined, I believe. Yes, he's there. So we have a full grid. Let's go up to Humberto Roca, who set that really good time. And we recall, Kevin, that he was very, very fast in the last race as well.
He was indeed, and he has been showing his heels to everybody so far in practice and in qualifying. He showed up in practice, late in practice, and his fast lap was half a second faster than anybody else had run to that point, and his second lap was the exact same lap. So I think, they were only about 2/10 slower than his practice time. His qualifying time, I should say, was about 2/10 slower than his practice lap. So Humberto definitely has some speed tonight, and it's going to be tough right now for anybody to challenge him. I think the goal right now for Miguel Crudo, stay close, hope that traffic affects something, and you can get in there and pounce. Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, he is not high up in the standings, in the championship standings. Championship in the pro class is being held down by Justin Brunner, who is in 5th place on the grid today. So Justin Brunner may not be all that worried about Humberto Roca. He just wants to get a good race in, perhaps get on the podium, win if he can, and lead this championship into the last round.
Yeah, and Brunner's being helped out by Jason Lundy starting in 15th. A big gap between them, lots of cars in between them. It's going to be difficult for Lundy to get up there and challenge for points. But we're coming through the Casio Triangle right now. They're going to come around this right-hander, and the race will be rolling.
And there goes the pace car into the pits. Now, bear in mind, the orange zone is very long. It means that you can overtake, but overtake with caution. Now we see them starting off in a second, still very slow as they approach the line. Now they're starting to speed up a little, and the green flag flies, and away they go. And now they are racing. Humberto Roca leads them away. Miguel Acrudo still in second place as per the grid.
We got a wreck.
Everyone
in the back.
Go ahead.
Trying to figure, it's Troy Fagan is off into the wall in turn 1, hit hard by Alex Peterson.
Yes, and Troy Fagan still not back on the track. Very damaged car on Alex Peterson's car. Very much damage on Alex Peterson's car, I should say. But they're all back on track once again, so that's unfortunate for those two. However, Alex Peterson did start from last place, so he's not going to be a factor at this point in time in the race. Going back up to the top, Miguel Acrudo, we said that they have to cover this orange zone, which they are approaching now. This is the final turn of the orange zone, the hairpin, and they are negotiating as we speak. Humberto Roca leading now. It is race time for all of these drivers. Kevin, Miguel Alcrudo has to try and catch a big gap already from Humberto Roca.
Yeah, Humberto just flying on those cold tires. That's a great start that he's got. It looks clean through Spoon, really able to put the hammer down. Picks up another 10th on Miguel just through Spoon himself right there.
Yeah, good. Now they go down to the very daunting 130R for the first time. This is going to be interesting to see how they take this corner. I love this corner personally, and they're all, the top 5 anyway, are all through clean. So they've got it down, no doubt
Simon
about
Goodwin
it.
off on 130, spinning across in front of Jason Lundy, just misses him. Simon Goodwin very lucky to not actually hit anything, I think.
Yeah, we'll get that on replay because that was action aplenty there. Simon Goodwin has lost many places. He's now third last from that little bit of action there. And we just spoke about everyone going cleanly through 130R as we see them coming into 130R now. Simon Goodwin out on the grass, then spins the car in front of one of the Puffin Racing cars, and well, how they didn't make contact there. They may have made some very light contact, but nothing damaging to the Puffin Racing car there, Kevin. However, Alex Peterson, Troy Fagan now in the pits, and I dare say Simon Goodwin, he'll have a little bit of heart thumping going on right now.
And David Slee off on the outside of Dunlop right now, manages to keep it together back on track, but he loses positions to Tom Ratchey and Mike Reuter. There's a nice little four-car action going on right there. But looks to me like the best action right now is about fourth. Jarrett Lawson, Justin getting chased by Justin Bruner, Drew Lidke. These guys are all kind of close. Trying to put some pressure on this. I think this is where the story of the race is going to be coming from, is the end of this podium.
Yeah, that's correct, and we'll put the cameras on Justin Brunner, still in fifth place. It's time to race now, as we said early on. They've no orange zone involved
Sebastian
anymore.
Roca off track on the exit of Spoon. Jason Lundy catching himself out a little bit as Roca comes back on track. Fortunately, both drivers able to resume without wrecking each other in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, very good driving from these guys at the moment.
And Richard, I'm going to bump in. I got Sleek going side by side on the entry to 130R. No, he's going to give it up. I thought for sure he was going to try and force it in there. That would have been a little too exciting. Go side by side through 130R.
Yeah, 130R. These guys will be doing one heck of a speed coming up, approaching that corner, and then going through it side by side is not a good thing to do. Well, let's put the cameras on Jason Lundy. We want to see how he's faring in this in this race. Bearing in mind he's second in the championship, currently sitting way back in 11th place. A lot of work to do, Kevin, for him to get in touch even with the top 5. And doesn't look like he's making much inroads on the guys in front of him at the moment. So unfortunately for Jason, he has really got to just have a steady race and hope for the best in this race. However, Justin Brunner, our leader of the championship, starting to get on the back there of Jarrett Lawson, and look for a move from him in the next couple of laps, I believe, Kevin.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, actually, now that I think a little bit about it, Bruner, he's got multiple cars between himself and the driver chasing him in the point standings. That is Jason Lundy, as we've mentioned. So I think Bruner probably best served if he's going to play it a little more conservative tonight, Richard. So I would say probably his best bet is just hold place. If he thinks Drew Lidke and that blue and white and black McLaren behind him is pressuring him, maybe just pull over, let Lidke by. I think Bruner's best bet tonight is make sure he finishes the race with no damage on his car, no spins, no offs, nothing along those lines.
Yeah, well, that's a good call, Kevin, because I'm looking at the championship with John Paquin out of action. The next best, of course, is Tom Ratchey. And Tom is also way back. In fact, Tom is a couple of places behind Jason Lundy. As we see, Sebastian, well, that's petered out. You're quite correct. I believe that all Justin Brunner has to do, Peter Hebron off track, big turnover there. Car did not only spin coming out of 130R, in fact, it flipped as well. So he's got a lot of damage there, Peter Hebron. Yeah, we'll get that on replay. We see Peter Hebron now approaching the corner 130R and we know that he's a super fast. He goes in okay, then the car spins, hits the wall with the left side. The car bounces up and down, did not actually flip, but he's got a lot of damage from that, and he will no doubt be in the pits there, Kevin. In fact, he's entering the pits right now.
Yeah, and you'll also see the BMW of Sebastian Roca, who spun it in 130R just in front of Peter Hebron. I don't think they affected each other. Roca bounced off the inside while he's into pits getting that damage fixed. But let's move. Let's find ourselves a little battle right now. Jason Lundy picked up that spot from Roca after Roca spun, so Lundy's now in 10th. His teammate Tom Ratchey about 2.5 seconds behind him in 11th. So those Puffin Racing boys want to move forward a little bit, but we've seen Kevin Hennings be a tough driver to pass. So Jason Lundy's got a little bit of an ask in front of him right now.
Yes, that's true. And Tom Rathy's made up one spot because he's now directly behind Jason. And the two Puffin Racing drivers, hopefully they can work together and try to make inroads on the top 10. And of course, that is possible. Some of the guys ahead of them are in the amateur class, like Julie Redmond. Drew Litke is very fast. They may not make up a lot of time on him, but certainly Kevin Hennings would be the next target for Jason Lundy. And sorry, we just got some information there, but I missed that.
Kevin Hennings helped Jason Lundy get around him and get that position. So Lundy is now leading Hennings. And also along that line, Darren Leslie allowed Simon Goodwin to pass him very sportingly into Spoon. Goodwin's already put about a second on Leslie very quickly.
Well, then we have to say Jason Lundy is the big mover at the moment. In front of him now is Robert Tarbox Jr. and then Julie Redmond. So he could make up a few more places before the pit stops even. So let's see how that all peters out. Let's go now to the front of this race where we will have a look at Humberto Roca. Humberto absolutely killing them at the moment. There he's got a nice lead on Miguel El Crudo, who has not given up yet. In fact, now that I look at it, Kevin, Miguel may have made up a little bit of time on Humberto as we speak, or in the last couple of laps anyway. Behind them, Ricardo Mendez, a fair way back, so a lot of space between the top three there.
Yeah, there is a couple seconds each, but we've seen that kind of gap evaporate very quickly before in this series, and even bigger ones, especially after the pit stops. So definitely can't say it's over right now. But I'm impressed by Jarrett Lawson right now. He's been running pretty well. He actually kind of made a little bit of mistake into turn one last time by, went very deep off track. I thought he was going to spin it, but he retained it, and is still put down a pretty good pace right now.
Yeah, and there is a little battle developing here between himself and Ricardo Mendez just in front of him. Ricardo in the 107 car and Jarrett Lawson in the 126 car. They were very close coming up to 130R. They're still quite close, so we will keep an eye on this battle and see how it develops. But you're quite right, Kevin. Oh, as he goes way off track there, trying to keep it in. Lost the position there, did Jarrett Lawson. To, in fact, who was that? That was Justin Brunner. Just got by him there. So Justin Brunner picks up that place without having to work too hard.
Yeah, that always makes it a little easier that way. So well done there. Now I'm taking a look at the battle for 13th and 14th. Jay Dargert and Mike Reuter and Christopher Burling. Is that right? Am I reading my data right? No, David Slee, Jay Dargert, and Mike Reuter, sorry. They were very close together through 130R, and now on the pit straight, of course, by the time I figure out what's going on, they have separated a bit there, Richard.
Yep. And I noticed that Tom Rathy has dropped a position to Kevin Hennings. So Kevin Hennings has passed him. And at this point, Jason Lundy still ahead of Kevin Hennings. So a good run from Kevin here in the early laps. We are only on lap 6. This is a fairly long track. It's just under 2 minutes to get around this track. So a lot of corners, 17 of them to negotiate in one single lap. Hard work for the boys here today, Kevin.
Yeah, Jay Dargert lost that 12th place to David Slee after Dargert went off in turn one, came back in front of Mike Reuter, kind of checked Reuter up a little bit in the S's. I thought we were about to have a wreck. They've gotten sorted back out. Reuter about half second behind Dargert, Dargert about a second behind David Slee.
Yeah, and timing and scoring showing all 22 cars are on track at the moment. So some will have damage, of course, but with the fast repair, they will have got themselves a new car and they are back out there and racing. So at this stage of the race, still very early laps, only lap 6 going into lap 7 for the bottom half of the track, bottom half of the group at the moment. But I have to say that the race here, with a long track like this, Kevin, you will tend to see the drivers spread out a bit.
Yeah, we will see them spread out a bit, and it will take a while before the leaders catch the lap traffic. So we may not see any lap traffic until after the first pit stop, very possibly, maybe even late in the race. As Brunner goes very, very deep, Ricardo Mendez goes very, very deep into turn one. Brunner stuck his nose on the inside, nothing going though.
Yeah, he's right on the rear end now of Ricardo Mendez as they come into the hairpin. Brunner playing it cautious. I think you was spot on there, Kevin. He's not going to do anything risky to affect his championship hopes here, because at this point in time he's just got to keep it clean. He's in 4th place. All he's got to do is bring it on home in about, let's see, we've got 46 minutes remaining in this race, so only 15 minutes has gone just about. So a long race to go still, but he just has to bring it home and he will maintain that first position going into the championship.
Wow, Mendez catching a lot of curve there on the inside of 130R. Lucky to have not spun it there, Richard.
Yeah, now they come out of Casio, and you can see now it seems that Justin Brunner has closed right up. This is a battle as they go down to turn number 1. Will he try and take... he does. He goes to the inside right now, Kevin. He's going to try and take 3rd position, but Ricardo holds him out for a bit, but Ricardo is on the outside. Justin has the better run. He comes out of the turn 1 and turn 2 and takes that position.
Yeah, Lawson was thinking about trying to make something happen there too, but couldn't quite. Mendez very deep under braking for turn 1. That was impressive and able to keep it on the track. I was expecting that if we were going to go side by side, we were going to see cars off, but well done by Justin Brunner to get that position away from Ricardo Mendez. And now he's put a little bit of gap, dropped some wheels on Dunlap. Doesn't spin it though. Now he's got to do Degner properly and make sure he doesn't spin his way off track here.
Yeah, he does get through both Degner 1 and Degner 2 quite nicely. Ricardo Mendez has dropped back maybe 5 car lengths or so into the hairpin. Closing up the roof seems to be a lot better through the tighter corners, as we've come to expect in the series. And once we get out in the more open areas, it seems that the other cars have a bit more power to play with. But once again, as they go into the spoon curve, now this is a very, very tight, it just keeps tightening up on you, this curve, and a very tough corner to negotiate properly because it's a double apexer, and of course you've got to try and slow the car and keep your line as well. Now down to the very, very fast 130R, absolutely nail that corner. And both cars, both Mendez and Brunner, through there very nicely. So they come up to Casio Triangle once again, and another lap just about to be completed. Great driving from these guys.
Yeah, for sure. All keeping it well. It is tough to miss your marks at Suzuka when you are following close behind another car. You get unsighted a little bit, maybe get distracted a little bit, miss that frame of reference that you need to hit your turn-in point absolutely right. And if you don't, very easy to go off into the wilderness, into a wall. But these guys are doing a fantastic job. Jarrett Lawson all over the bumper of Ricardo Mendez coming out of turn 2. Just can't seem to make anything happen right now. Looks like Lawson wants that position. He's going to have to try and really force Mendez into a mistake, I think.
Yeah, and you know, coming through the S's here. The S's are a very tough series of corners, left and right all the time. And he was right on the rear end of Ricardo Mendes, but he wisely, I think, decided not to try and make the move there. Now going through Degner 2, which is a tight right-hander, and he's looking like he wants to make a move, but they're coming up to the hairpin now. Perhaps not the best place to try. Coming out of the hairpin is a good place to try and make an overtaking maneuver. Not quite close enough at this point, Kevin.
Yeah, I was just taking a look here. I was trying to figure out what happened. Kevin Hennings got around Jason Lundy, and it looks like Jason Lundy went deep into Degner 1 a couple laps ago, and that allowed Kevin Hennings to get around him. Now Lundy's getting held up a little bit by Hennings, and that's allowed Tom Ratchey, Lundy's teammate, to catch him up as well. So a little three-car battle, although now I see Ratchey has just lost a little bit in the last couple corners, but a little three-car battle here for 9, 10, and 11.
Yeah, and you will recall that Kevin was actually behind Tom Rapchi earlier on, but he passed he passed Tom Rapchi, and then he was in between the Puffin Racing cars, but now he's passed Jason Lundy as well. So Kevin Hennings doing a good job. Coming up to 130R once again on lap number 9, and he gets that nicely done. He's followed there by Jason Lundy, who I'm sure is not happy that he lost that position, but coming through Casio Triangle and down towards turn number 1 now. Again, they will we'll see if the BMW has more power to put to the ground than does the roof. Doesn't seem to me that way.
Well, one thing I have been keeping an eye on is the battle for 16th and 17th, Anthony James and Simon Goodwin. Remember, Simon Goodwin had that big, huge, nasty spin through 130R on, was it lap 1 or lap 2, where he barely missed Jason Lundy? I think it was lap 1. And he has closed up onto Anthony James, but hasn't been able to make anything happen. And last time approaching 130R, Goodwin actually got on the brakes at about the 400 marker to make sure he didn't run over Anthony James. So I think he is much faster than Anthony, but just can't quite figure out how to get around him right now.
Yeah, tough place to pass on many of these turns. I'm still with the battle here with Jarrett Lawson and Ricardo Mendes, and he's been right on the back bumper of Mendes, but same as in your situation there, Kevin, that you're commenting on, can't find a way past. But I think it's a matter of time before Jarrett Lawson does find a way by, because he certainly looks a little racier or more racy than does Ricardo Mendes at this point.
And we should move our cameras up front to Miguel Alcrudo and Justin Brunner. Brunner is 2/10 behind Alcrudo for second place. Brunner has ignored my advice to be conservative and has been moving forward like crazy, as we see Miguel Alcrudo go very wide on the exit of 130R. Brunner's looking like he wants that second place, and he deserves it at the moment if he's been this much quicker. But right now, they're about 7 seconds behind Humberto Roca for the overall lead. So it's going to be tough as Miguel Alcrudo, is he going defensive as he moves over to driver's right, losing speed to Brunner on the pit straight, but he's going to have the positioning into turn 1. No, he's not going to give it up. That was definitely a defensive move, and keeps that position through 1 and 2, Richard.
Yeah, and you know, Miguel Alcrudo has everything to fight for. He is 5th in this championship at the moment. He wants the extra position. He's got Tom Rathy in front of him in the championship, but behind him on track at the moment. So he will want to keep that position if he can from Justin Brunner, just to get the extra points there and perhaps pass Tom Rathy in the points chase.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be a little bit tough, though, to do. I just saw something happen on my timing screen. Yep, Simon Goodwin and Anthony James side by side through turn 1. Goodwin finally gets that position. Does he keep it through turn 1 and turn 2? A little deep into turn 2. But yeah, he has finally gotten that position away from Anthony James. So Simon Goodwin trying to move forward after his heart-stopping spin on lap 1.
Now we are hearing, we've got information that Mendes has caught up with Justin Brunner. Ricardo Mendes, yes, behind Justin Brunner, who is behind Miguel Agrudo. Three-way battle for second place right now, with Ricardo Mendes just dropping a couple of car lengths there. Justin Brunner definitely looking for a way around Miguel Agrudo. Can't find it at this point in time as Miguel defends fiercely, and now Miguel goes off track. Go ahead, Kevin.
He is into the wall hard. A little bit of a twitch through 130R, gets loose and into the outside wall, comes back and hits the inside wall. That car has got heavy damage on it. He's going to have to go into pit lane, get a new one.
Yes, indeed. I have to say that word that I'm trying to avoid at the moment. But luckily for him, he was very, very close to the pits. And he goes into the pits now. He'll get a new car and be able to come back out and race again. But he did look like he was defending perhaps too hard at that point, and he got a little wide out there. Lost traction by getting out on the non-black stuff, I should say, and hit the wall very, very hard, as we're seeing on the replay now. So he gets the new car going and he'll be back out there. Meanwhile, let's have a look at the Mendes-Brunner situation. Ricardo Mendes behind Brunner. Still a healthy gap for Brunner there. So Brunner has got that second place locked up at the moment, which was being held down by Miguel Agrudo not so long ago, but he's gone right now.
Right, so Brunner in second place. He's 8.5 seconds behind Humberto Roca. We'll see what kind of pace he's got on Roca. See, that's a pretty healthy gap. Roca can be a little conservative. But he can't give Brunner can't be too conservative because he does have Mendes and Lawson very close behind him. And then in fifth place, the first of the Pro-Am class, is Julie Redmond, who has Drew Lid. And Lawson spins. Lawson spins on the exit of Spoon and puts it into the wall. He's going to have to get a new car too as he takes the tow.
Yes, he's taken a tow, so that is just not what you want to do. I was about to talk about the pit stops. As we see, we are 36 minutes remaining in the race, so we are inside the pit window right now, but that's not the way you want to get into the pits, Kevin.
No, for sure you don't want to do that. That's Lawson's going to be kicking himself. That's going to hurt his championship hopes as well. That's just frustrating as all get up. But speaking of championship hopes in the Pro-Am class, Julie Redmond doing exactly what she needs to do and being in front of Drew Lidke. Lidke only a half second behind Julie, though, so this one definitely not over here. But Julie wants to have a chance to move up a little bit. Remember, she's a long ways behind in first and second in that class for the championship, but she's doing what she needs to do right now.
Now, you know, Kevin, that's pretty interesting because Drew Lidke was way ahead of Julie Redmond early on. So something must have happened to Drew and we've missed it. He's certainly on track. He's not been in the pits as far as I can see. So, you know, he's not exactly slow either. He's just behind Julie. So we have to put it down to Julie doing a fantastic job today.
Yeah, Julie was reeling him in behind him a couple laps ago, and then Drew Lidke went wide on the exit of Spoon.
Oh, Kevin, let me break in here. Peter Hebron is in the fence there, facing the wrong way. Now he turns the car around. The Puffin Racing teammate of Jason Lundy was in the fence, and unfortunately that has put a damper on his race as well. He's got going again now, but I'm sure he'll be visiting the pits when he next gets the opportunity.
Yeah, and a couple other retirements too, or a couple of retirements I should mention, just period. Troy Fagan ran it into the wall on the exit of Spoon. He is retired. Mike Reuter also hitting the wall exit of the hairpin, and he has since retired as well.
Yep, and just getting back to Peter Hebron, he's already been in the pits one time, and this will be second visit to the pits now to get some damage repaired. He's still going at the moment. He may not elect to go back into the pits again this time, which we shall see if he does do that. He comes through the Cassia.
There's a wreck in pit lane.
Pit lane. Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out who it was. Christopher Burling and Kevin Hennings. Not sure what was going on, but they were... Kevin Hennings was pulling a Austin Powers in pit lane. He spun it on the entry to pit lane somehow and trying to find it. But there's 2 minutes of him just going back and forward in pit lane. Oh boy, he spun it through the last corner and looped into pit lane right in front of the tire walls and was sideways and then entered the 40-point turn of doom. Christopher Burling entered pit lane just, to serve his pit stop, it looked like, and had nothing he could do as poor Hennings is bouncing off the pit walls.
Yeah, that's not the way you want to do a pit stop, that's for sure. And in fact, looks like...
I just want to say, I was reminded of a race that you and I covered once before where we saw somebody try and enter the pit lane at Summit Point and completely blow the pit stop or pit entry and jump over the berm. And to date, that was the wildest pit entry I've ever seen. But this one, Kevin Hennings, salute to you. That was the best pit entry I've ever seen. I'm sure you are furious as all get up, but thank you very much for the entertainment.
Yes, I'm trying to think of the name of the guy. I can actually see the car. It was at the track was Summit Point. It was the short version of the track they were racing that day, and I can see it all in front of me. I just can't get to the guy's name right now.
All right, so let's get back to seriousness. In fourth place, Julie Redmond leading the pro class. In fifth place, Drew Lidke right behind her. Redmond made a little bit of a mistake into 130R, but Lidke very strong under the brakes into the Casio Triangle, right up behind her. But Julie gets another good launch out of the Casio Triangle, and Drew's probably way too far away to be able to make an attempt into turn one this time by, Richard.
Yeah, and just a quick note here, Justin Brunner has just entered the pits. And that will move Ricardo Mendez back up to second position. This is a regulation pit stop for Justin Brunner. He will take some tires and get some extra fuel, and he will be back out there racing once again. The other guys have not pitted in front of him. In fact, not many guys have pitted for a regulation pit stop at all, Kevin, but I'm pretty sure that will change in the next few laps.
Yeah, we're almost exactly halfway. Well, all right, a minute and a half away from halfway in the racing point. So, yeah, they're getting close to the end of their fuel stops here. A 60% fuel tank, looking at about 35, maybe 40 minutes max at Suzuka, depending on how conservative you are. Somebody kicked up a lot of dust on the exit Degner, too. So, yeah, we're going to see pit stops for all the drivers here within the next couple laps, for sure.
Yeah, well, let's take a moment before the pit stops start happening with a vengeance to look at the leaderboard. So Humberto Roca, who we haven't talked about much, he has been leading so well, is leading this race. Ricardo Mendez is in second place with Justin Brunner going into the pits there. Julie Redmond has moved up at this point into third place. Drew Lidke behind her, who's dropped back a bit. Drew Lidke struggling at this track, whereas Julie Redmond is doing fantastically well. Drew Lidke is in fourth place. Robert Tarbox Jr., we haven't spoken about him at all. He is in that camouflage car and doing a great job being in front of some of the more fancy drivers like Tom Rabji in sixth place, Jason Lundy in seventh place. Then we've got David Slee, Simon Goodwin, and Anthony James in 10th place. That's your top 10 before the pit stops. As we see Humberto Roca now, Kevin, going into the pits, as well as Drew Lidke. So the pit stops are on.
And I'm watching Anthony James in 10th and Justin Brunner in 11th. Justin Brunner getting held up a little bit as he comes out on those fresh tires, trying to get around Anthony James. Can't seem to make it happen going into Spoon. Gets a good run out. Comparatively, though, James very far on the inside. James moving over to the normal racing line. Brunner on the inside. James going defensive a little bit, moving drivers left. Brunner on the inside of 130R. They do go side by side on the entry. And in front of them, Simon Goodwin spins your 130R again.
Simon Goodwin coming across the track in the McLaren there, right in front of Justin Brunner. Let's get that on replay. That is not what Justin Brunner wanted. In fact, that is the last thing that he wanted. Now he's got a damaged car. He's got to get into the pits. Let's see. Justin Brunner has just been in the pits for his regulation pit stop. He now has to go into the pits again. He should still, Kevin, have a free repair to play with. Hopefully he can get that and come back out and keep racing.
Yeah, hopefully he didn't use it the last time he was in if he had some little bit of damage. Boy, that hurts badly. There's nothing that Brunner can do. Simon Goodwin had the wheels locked up, was trying to slow that car down. Goodwin was what we refer to as a passenger in the car. There was nothing that Goodwin could do, and bad luck for Justin Brunner there. He does get his reset, and he's back out. So at least there's some silver lining in that black cloud.
Yeah, indeed. That was unfortunate. There is no other way to say that. I mean, he could not do anything other than what he did. He went to the far right of the track to try and avoid, but the other car was just coming across the track, Simon Goodwin, and slammed into him. And I do believe, is Simon Goodwin a teammate of Justin Brunner?
Not to my knowledge.
The paint schemes look a little similar, and it may just be my eyes. Now, Julie Redmond in the pits, Ricardo Mendes in the pits as well for regulation pit stop. Out of this race at the moment, you mentioned Troy Fagan, Mike Ruder. Peter Hebron has joined them as well. He's decided to quit for the day. A bunch of guys in the pits though. Tob Rapchi is in the pits as well as the others that we mentioned. So everybody grabbing their pit stop. Things will be a little crazy, but our new leader for the moment is none other than Robert Tarbox Jr. Kevin?
For sure. Tarbox, like we said, running that screw-loose car along with Jarrett Lawson. So one of them having a much better day than the other. And I will confirm, that Simon Goodwin, part of SIDR Racing, and Justin Brunner, part of Vortex Sim Racing, two completely different teams, even though they do kind of confuse us with their mildly similar schemes sometimes and our old eyes. But only four cars, have not stopped for pit stops right now. Robert Tarbox, Jason Lundy, David Slee, all 1, 2, 3, and then in the fourth car just went in. So only three, Tarbox, Lundy, and Slee, all trying to gain some spots by staying out long.
Well, with that backhanded comment there about my age, I'll accept that. I am not a young man anymore. I'll just take that without any comeback. So let's just get back to the racing. Anthony James in the pit stall now, looking to get himself organized for the latter part of this race. Robert Tarbox Jr. leading. Jason Lundy in second place at the moment. And David Slee in third place. That will change when they go and do their pit stops, because none of those three I just mentioned have done their pit stops. Everyone else has done a pit stop so far, Kevin. So these guys will fall back into the positions that they had previously once they come into the pits.
Right, and effectively, of the drivers that have stopped, Humberto Roca is in the lead, Ricardo Mendes in second. I'm waiting for timing and scoring to update to show me what that gap is. It is 11 seconds between Roca and Mendes, and then Julie Redmond in third, Drew Lidke in fourth. Those are the cars that stopped. Redmond and Lidke still pretty close together. It's about 1 second on track right now as Tarbox goes into pit lane and stops. Lundy takes over the effective lead and goes very deep into turn one, but keeps the car together, does not spin, does a good job of kind of aborting the corner, getting the car straightened out, getting on the brakes, and recovering. So Lundy's still out there on track, turning laps. David Slee also in pit lane as well. So Jason Lundy, the only driver who has not stopped for tires. And I think he's doing this to try and get a little bit more of a gap out front. Remember, he was started very, very deep, had a poor qualifying effort. And so staying out long like this, maybe he'll be able to pass some slower cars on track over this pit cycle.
Yeah, I seem to recall that Jason Lundy makes a habit of staying out for as late as he can before coming in to do his pit stop. I'm looking at this battle between Drew Lidke and Julie Redmond. I'm getting the feeling here, Kevin, that it's not really a battle. It seems as if Drew Lidke is quite content to stay behind Julie at the moment. He closed up on the previous lap into the Casio triangle right on the bumper, and Julie had a little bit of a bobble. And instead of trying to take advantage, he actually braked and stayed behind us. So I think he's just making sure that he does nothing risky. It's almost as if, I will only overtake you if you make a big mistake enough for me to just pass without having to battle you.
Yeah, and remember, Drew Liedtke's got a huge championship lead, points lead. Well, effectively, he's 14 points in front of second place Daniel Rice, but Daniel Rice not here tonight, so that gap will grow even more. In third place, 41 points behind is Julie Redmond, whom he's directly behind right now. So there's 35 points on offer for a win, and I think it's 32 for second. Yeah, 32 for second. So that's about the biggest gap there is in the points table. So Liedtke really not going to lose a lot of points to Julie Redmond right now, and if he just keeps the car on track, finishes behind Julie Redmond, Liedtke's going to be in awesome position to clinch that championship. Maybe even he might even be able to do that tonight.
Well, yes, let's just make a note here. Jason Lundy has come into the pits for his pit stop, so that will be the last of the cars to do the pit stop. Now he's finished. He goes back out again. He's dropped back. He's currently in about 7th position, coming back out of the pits. So we'll see where he comes out in relation to Jason. There goes Jason. Robert Tarbox just in front of him. So Robert has managed to jump him there in the pits, whereas Robert was behind him previously. So it didn't work out that well for Jason Lundy, but he is in 7th place at this point in time. I'm seeing Ricardo. Oh no, it's pitted out there. So let's go now to the front, where Humberto Roca, Kevin, has taken his place once again. He's in the top spot. Ricardo Mendez just coming through the hairpin there. A long way behind him right now. In fact, something like 17 seconds behind. And Julie Redmond still in 3rd place with Drew Liedtke in 4th place. So some good racing taking place here, but not that exciting at the moment, as we can't find a battle to have a look at right now.
Well, I'm returning back to Drew Liedtke. So I didn't quite realize it, but I think Liedtke will actually clinch the Pro-Am Championship tonight, unless he goes crazy and wrecks the car and finishes dead last. And even then, he still might, as he now has a lapper he has to deal with approaching 130R, and he's going to put it in side by side with the lapper.
That was Darren Leslie.
And Liedtke rolls the car. How's that for a commentator's curse? Oh, man.
That is just not what you want to see. And it was, in my opinion, the fault of the lapped car, Darren Leslie, who kind of made a bobble, came across. Let's get that on replay. And you will see that no fault whatsoever can be attached to Drew Liedtke there. He was doing everything right. And that's the unfortunate aftermath of we're just seeing it on the replay there now, into the wall, having to go into the pits. Now that does change things around. If he can't get back out and get a good position, Julie Redmond will close the gap. She may not be able to get right up there, but it gives her a very, very good chance of getting 2nd place.
Well, Richard, I'm going to take a little bit of umbrage. I think Drew Liedtke put himself in a bad spot. Yeah, I'm not going to blame him for Darren Leslie spinning, but Liedtke he was behind Darren Leslie, and Darren Leslie went 2 off onto the grass, was driving down the back straight on the grass. If I'm the car behind somebody who's in the grass, I'm gonna back off. I'm gonna give him a gap because I'm expecting him to spin somewhere. And definitely I'm not going to try and go side by side into 130R, one of the most difficult places to pass in racing, period. But either way, not what Liedtke wanted to see, and I'm sure Darren Leslie does not feel good either right now.
Well, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Kevin, but the other way of looking at it is somebody puts wheels in the grass much slower. I mean, there's no question that Drew Liedtke would have been well and truly past Darren Leslie before 130R. I think it's not necessarily a bad call, just an unfortunate set of events that all came together at the same instant to ruin his day.
Yeah, that's definitely a ruined moment there. So he's going to be kicking himself for sure. So let's see, what's the closest battle we have on track?
Well, we got information that P7, which is in fact Justin Brunner, went really wide at 130R, and that allowed Brunner to catch up. I'm not seeing that at the moment. Who's in front of him? David Slee. David Slee is in position. Justin Brunner is coming back. You will remember Justin Brunner had an unfortunate incident and had to enter the pits, and he's now in a 7th place. So at this point, Justin's still okay as long as he can finish where he is right now. We've got Sebastian Roca joining the group that are not in the race any longer as well. So Kevin, the race is shaking out with a lot of unfortunate events there for some of the top guys.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunate. Not what I was expecting or hoping for in any way, shape, or fashion. To see so many drivers having big contact in some way, shape, or form. And very few drivers haven't dealt with that. Humberto Roca, Ricardo Mendez, Julie Redman, all have managed to keep their cars clean and done well to be up in the top 3. But a lot of drivers falling afoul. Closest battle we have on track right now is 13th and 14th, Drew Lidke, Jarrett Lawson. It's about a second, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 seconds. It's changing rapidly on track right now as they go through the last half of the S's.
Yeah, and I am with Jason Lundy at the moment. I've been trying to see if he's making any inroads on Robert Tarbox. But at this point, it's still too early to say. He's a long way back from Robert Tarbox, but he's done well. Jason Lundy has done well. He is currently in 6th place, so that will certainly, improve his point standings. And bear in mind, he started from about, was it 13th or 15th place when they started the race. So he's done really well, as has Julie Redman to take that first position currently in the AM class. So some of the guys have benefited from the problems that others have had, Kevin.
Yeah, for sure. But Jason Lundy, he had about a 19-second pit stop compared to most other drivers in the low to mid 30s. So, and there's a little bit of action right now as Lawson's going around Drew Lidke. Lidke just pulled offline, allowed Lawson to go by. Not really sure why he did that.
I can tell you why. Why. He was out in the weeds for about 2 or 3 seconds there, and that is why he had to give up that position, because he was just coming back, recomposing himself after having a very scary moment.
Yeah, for sure. I did not see that, but on replay, for sure did see that. So that kind of puts paid to that for a moment. However, Lawson and Lidke are catching the 12th place car of Christopher Burling as Lidke gets loose in turn 1 and spins it in turn 2. He is all out of shape right now, but he is back on track after that half spin and through the S's. Lidke, back off a little bit, let those tires catch up under you, and put it down. You've had a bad night, no need to make it any worse.
That's right, Kevin. Drew, this is the 2nd lap now. Did he not take tires at his pit stop? That's the only thing I can think of, because he is really out of shape at the moment.
Just Drew Lidke, I suspect he took tires. I think he's just made a mistake and the red mist has descended and he's angry, or I think he's probably just overdriving the car at the moment.
Well, we do have a battle. We do have a battle on track at the moment. Jarrett Lawson on Christopher, what's his last
Burling.
name? Burling. That was just hidden by the window there. Now we have a battle. Kevin, this is interesting. Let's see what Jarrett Lawson will do. They come through Spoon Curve at the moment. Double apex. They negotiate that successfully. Jarrett not battling too hard now. Let's see. He'll close up. Will he try and do the overtaking maneuver into 130R? He's going to do it. And he does it fairly easily at the moment. Can he hold the line? Yes, he does. And he takes position. Well done.
Yeah, I think that was just kind of going to be a routine matter. Burling's been lapping a couple seconds slower a lap than Jarrett Lawson has been. So Jarrett just needed to make sure he didn't do something stupid and run into the back of Christopher Burling with probably vastly different braking points. But good job, both drivers, to keep it together through 130R. Now Drew Lidke needs to kind of gather himself up to go attack Christopher Burling.
Well, let's recap the positions at the moment. Humberto Roca still leading. Let's put the camera on him, Joe, so we can actually see this guy in action. He has done a magnificent job here today, and no doubt about it, a class act. He's leading at this point in time by 18 seconds from second place Ricardo Mendez. And then Julie Redmond, great job from Julie as well. She doesn't have Drew Lidke to worry about too much right now. Let's see, in fourth place, Miguel Alcrudo, who's way behind Julie Redmond. So, Julie, this has got to be one of her best races, I think, Kevin.
Yeah, I think so. Third overall. I can't remember anywhere she was doing as well. Maybe at Motorsports she was running top 5, I think, until that last lap when she got too aggressive getting on the power out of Moss, the last corner, and spun it, if you recall. But she is having a fantastic night. Not having quite as great a night. Tom Ratchey in 9th. He started 14th, directly in front of his teammate Jason Lundy, who was in 15th. But Ratchey's been behind David Slee for a couple laps and now gets a great run at it. But he's been a fair amount faster than David Slee. I think he's going to get that position, probably. We've seen enough chaos tonight, though.
Yeah, he just had a little bobble there approaching the S's or coming out of the turn number 2 turn 2. And now as they go through the S's, he closes right up again. You're quite right. He's been trying to pass for a little while, but he should get it done. He's got the speed. He's just taking the cautious approach. As we see Slee, and now they touch, and more bad luck. Kevin, we are no good. Every car we look at spins at the moment.
And you know what I was just thinking of is every time we talk about Tom Ratchey, something happens with his teammate Jason Lundy. Every time we talk about Lundy, something happens with his teammate Tom Ratchey. When we're talking about Tom Ratchey, Jason Lundy went off, nearly gave up the position to Justin Bruner through Dunlap. I'm looking at Lundy, and then Ratchey touches David Slee and has a chaos. So, and now it sounds like Drew Lidke has put it into the wall.
Going very slowly at the moment he was. And I don't know what's happened since the pit stop. He's just gone backwards, and he's not going to be happy with that. At one point, leading the race in his class, and now down to overall. Let's see, where is he? 14th position overall at the moment. Gone backwards big time.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to finish. He's got heavy damage on his right side, and he's used up that reset. Remember. If he is able to finish, he's going to be at a very, very, very slow pace. And
Kevin Hennings has just flipped his car into the wall and taking the tow as we speak. Let's get that one on replay because I didn't see exactly what happened to Kevin Hennings. We'll have a look at that.
Hit by Anthony James under braking into Spoon. There will be words after this race, I am sure, between several drivers.
Yep, we're getting the replay right now. Kevin Hennings ahead of Anthony James. And as you say, they're coming through that Spoon there. And they're coming through the very fast section. And, whoa, yes, he gets hit and just goes straight into the wall. Flips the car, lands back on his wheels. Not happy is what he'll be saying right now.
Well, he's not saying much. He has left the building, so to speak. He has retired from this race. He doesn't want to see anything more. But let's see, who am I looking at? I'm looking at Miguel Alcrudo, who qualified second. He is running 5th right now. He's losing time. Hand over fist to Robert Tarbox. And actually, he brakes and pulls off track.
Miguel Alcrudo off the track, the BMW sitting there. Now in the pits, not sure what happened there. Perhaps we can get a replay. Something must have happened to him. Again, we speak about somebody and they're off track or in the pits. I think people might not be too happy with GSRC at the moment.
Richard, he got loose exiting the S's or no, it was through Dunlop. He ran wide through Dunlop and popped the inside wall. Big damage to his left front.
Yeah, we're actually getting a replay of that. He's coming through the S's now as we speak. He goes through the last part of the S's, and then he'll take the big left-hander into Dunlop there.
And now Julie Redmond's in pit lane. And a splash and dash?
Leaving the pits as we speak, doesn't have any damage that I can see, so you may well be correct. A splash and dash, but that has taken her from third place down to sixth place at the moment, with Jason Lundy, Justin Bruner, and Robert Tarbox having now passed her while she was doing a pit stop. So ran out of fuel, but that's happened to Julie once before.
No, our spotter Amjad Yaman has been Johnny on the spot here. She touched Jay Dargert, who had spun into Spoon. So she dropped in to get that fast repair.
Ah, okay. Well done there, Amjad. Thanks for spotting there for us. Well, she's back out there. The good news for her is, of course, that she is still well and truly ahead of Drew Litke. Drew Litke's still out there, by the way. He's battling on to get what points he can with a badly damaged car at the moment, Kevin.
Yeah, he is way off pace. I would believe that if there were marshals, they would probably tell him to park that car. I'm just worried that he's going to make a mistake and collect somebody else, but not my call to make. So let's see. Humberto Roca still leads this race. He has been flawless as far as we can tell, not making any mistakes. Ricardo Mendez has moved up into second, but he is about 28 seconds behind Humberto. Another 20 seconds behind is the third place car of Robert Tarbox Jr. Fourth would be Justin Bruner, who has had an exciting race. He's about 6 seconds behind Tarbox. Fifth, Jason Lundy, a fantastic run through the field, helped by plenty of chaos. Sixth overall and first in the Pro-Am class is Julie Redmond, and she leads by about 17 seconds over the next amateur Pro-Am car of David Slee, who is in seventh overall, Richard.
Yeah, and I almost wanted to say, Kevin, let's not put the camera on Humberto Roca, because everyone else we've jinxed so far, we've put the camera on. So, but Humberto is unaffected by us and doing a great job at the moment, coming through Spoon Curve for the 27th time. He's on lap 27 at the moment. There is a matter of some 6 minutes left in this race, and all he has to do is to hold it together for another few laps, and 2 or 3 laps I would guess, and then he'll have this one in the bag. Ricardo Mendez, as you mentioned, in second place, way back. So let us start looking for a battle somewhere. Let's have a look. Tom Rathy perhaps? Nope, nothing happening there. Drew Litke just cruising around very slowly at the moment. Miguel El Crudo way back after his troubles. In fact, Miguel is out of the race.
Yeah, he retired after that contact shortly. I think he had apparently used his reset. Either that or he decided it just wasn't worth it anymore. Closest battle on track is that David Slee, Tom Ratchey battle for 7th and 8th. They are 2.5 seconds apart, 2.3 now, just updated. But that is by far the closest battle on track that we have.
Well, a big beneficiary out of all the drama that we've seen tonight, and the attrition rate has been really high. I'm quite surprised. I know that this is a tough track, but I wasn't aware that these cars would be so badly affected, and a lot of them were just struggling to get around this track cleanly. But back to my point, Jason Lundy in 5th position now. That has got to be a good finish for him, Kevin, having started so far back.
Yeah, he's going to have to be pleased about that right now because, yeah, he was in 15th out of 22 cars to start the race, so running 5th right now. And as far as I can tell, no damage. He's had a couple of exciting events out in the dust and the weeds in the wilderness, but running pretty well in 5th. But, yeah, if we're not, let's make sure we're keeping an eye on Tom Ratchey. He's quite a bit faster than David Slee in 7th, running him down at a pretty good clip. So we might see some action here in a bit.
Well, he was right on the bumper of David Slee not that long ago, and couldn't make a pass. He did try a pass, and then of course they kind of came together. So he is just wary now of David Slee, it seems to me, and he's just sitting back there thinking, I'd rather finish than tangle with David perhaps and have a further problem which might put me in the pits. So maybe that's the strategy at the moment. Just stay behind and finish.
For sure, but that team championship does not want that to happen. Humberto Roca and Julie Redmond are that Works Racing team. They are in second by 21 points to the Puffin Racing cars of Jason Lundy and Tom Ratchey. So it's just going to be a good night for the Works Racing team. Going to move forward a little bit as David Slee getting a little loose through the hairpin there. So Ratchey, if he can pick off the spot from David Slee, that will help consolidate their lead a little bit and maintain it, keep it, or if they do lose it, not lose it by as much as they might.
Well, the news from our spotter is that at the moment, Julie Redmond is gaining about 1 second per lap on Jason Lundy. So she might yet feature in the top 5. As you can see, she's visibly...
Yeah, and we are side by side, Ratchey and Slee approaching 130R. We have seen so much action into 130R. Ratchey a little early on brakes, but David Slee's going to say, nope, go ahead. Does the little over-under, but no, he's not going to attack here under the Casio Triangle. No, for sure. So Tom Ratchey does pick up that spot from David Slee.
And good on Tom for doing that. Back to the battle here. Julie Redmond, Jason Lundy. Now, one's a pro and one is an amateur, but nonetheless, the amateur at this point, Julie Redmond, catching Jason Lundy, and she was quite a few seconds back, and she's just made that time up within a lap or so. So look for her to try and pass Jason Lundy for the 5th position very, very soon.
And I'm not sure if we talked about it, as there's a spinning car in front of them. That is, I don't know who that is.
That is Jay Dargett, I believe. Let me see.
Yeah, that was Dargett. He's got a lot of damage on his car that, not sure if he picked it up. Yeah, it looks like he just picked it up right there in that spin, went into the wall. But what I wanted to talk about was is we don't believe that Jason Lundy took tires in the stop, his pit stop, and I think that everybody else did take tires. At least Julie Redmond, pretty sure, took tires. So Lundy probably on old cranky tires, and Redmond probably on much fresher tires. So Julie might have all the advantages here, but there's only 70 seconds left in this race officially, so she needs to make this action happen soon.
And here is Simon Goodwin, guys.
And they're side by side on the back straight. Lundy and Redmond. Redmond's on the inside, Richard, as they approach 130R.
All right, keep going with that one. And she passes. She passes Jason Lundy as we thought she would. Jason Lundy shows his nose on the inside, but really having, been caught and passed that easily, he's got nothing to offer at this point in time. Just stay in line. You're quite right. He didn't take any tires because that's why his pit stop was so fast. But getting back to, I forget the name now. There's a car parked on the inside near the wall. Simon Goodwin. Now, he had some incident, and he just decided, he slowed very, very slow coming out of Casio, and then just decided to park it there, which is a bad place, by the way.
Well, fortunately, we are on the white flag lap. Humberto Roca approaching 130R now, so not a whole lot left in the race. So I'm plenty sure a lot of drivers are happy to see the tail end of this one.
And let's stay with Humberto Roca now, coming through the Casio Triangle for the last time. The checkered flag is out, waiting to greet him. Goes to the right-hander, heads down the slight decline to the start-finish line, and takes the checkered flag. First place for Humberto Roca. Second place will go to, oh dear, still very, very long way to second place there, Kevin.
Yeah, almost 50 seconds. That just shows you how good Humberto was tonight. Although Ricardo Mendes is kind of slow on the back straight. I'm wondering if he short-fueled himself.
Well, this is the last lap anyway. Robert Tarbox Jr. is in third place. They've just negotiated 130R, coming up to Casio for the last time now. I think that even as slow as Ricardo Mendes is going, he will take the second position, which he does about in a second or two's time. Robert Tarbox Jr., third place, well done. Justin Brunner, a good recovery from him, Kevin, from the incident he had, to finish up in fourth place by the looks of it.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be the end of Brunner's championship hopes as Lundy spins it out of the last corner, backs it into the wall. He's got some damage on the back, but he'll be able to finish without losing any more positions.
Yep, and it looks to me like this definitely was the race with probably the worst attrition we've seen in all the 6 rounds so far, or the 5 previous rounds. I'm sure there have been battles in the other, but I've not seen cars go off track so much, Kevin, just by themselves.
Yeah, Suzuka is a tough track, and boy, it was tough for a lot of folks tonight. I am sure that there will be a lot of unhappy drivers tonight for various reasons, whether it's self-inflicted or inflicted by somebody else. But looks like everybody has crossed the finish line now as Jarrett Lawson wrapped up. So let's go ahead and go to break, and we'll come back on the other side of driver interviews.
Sounds good to me.
Starbucks system.
Welcome back to Suzuka, where we have seen a race that I'm sure, Kevin, many of the drivers will be unhappy with their own performance, or perhaps, as you said before the break, the performance of other drivers. And, well, let's go through all the standings so we can tell the folks how it all finished up.
Well, I'll lead us off then. Humberto Rocca with a masterful performance out there, winning that race and winning by 50.4 seconds. In second place, Ricardo Mendez. Third was Robert Tarbox, a fantastic run from him tonight. I think his best ever. We'll have to ask him. Justin Brunner in fourth. Julie Redmond wins the Pro-Am class in fifth. Jason Lundy in sixth. Tom Rathje in seventh. David Slee eighth. Jarrett Lawson was the last of the lead lap cars, easy for me to say, in ninth, and 10th was Anthony James. Richard?
And after Anthony, we've got the next, everyone else was a lap down or more. So Christopher Burling finished in 11th place, 1 lap down. Drew Litke with a second half of the race that I'm sure he'll be very unhappy with, was in 12th place. Alex Peterson finished in 13th place. Jay Dargett in 14th. Simon Goodwin in 15th place. Darren Leslie 4 laps down in 16th place. Miguel El Crudo did not finish in 17th place. Kevin Hennings, early shower for him, finished in 18th place. Sebastian Roca in 19th place. 20th place, Peter Hebron. These are all guys who did not finish. And of course, Mike Ruder in 21st. And Troy Fagan brought up the rear in 22nd place. So that's how they finished. Some good racing from particularly Humberto Roca, and some absolutely hilarious scenes in the race that we will talk about some more if we can find anyone to interview. Who have we got? We've got Julie Redmond there, Kevin, and we have got Robert Tarbox. Let's talk to Robert.
Well, actually, we got Julie Redmond in the booth right now.
All right, well, let's talk to Julie. Go ahead.
Hey.
How you doing tonight, Julie? Good run out there to bring it home in fifth tonight.
Yeah, I think I was in second, and I was starting to get pretty excited to actually have a overall podium. And somebody spun in front of me coming around on the backside, and I couldn't avoid him, and my wheel was kind of sideways, so I had to pit, do a quick fix, and get back out. So.
Okay, that answers my second question. That we'd seen you'd made contact with Jay Dargert in Spoon, and didn't see any damage, but obviously it was clearly enough for you to come in to go and get that stop. But yeah, you were having a fantastic run out there, running second. Suzuka you must like Suzuka.
I love this track. I do, definitely.
Now you're on the same team with Humberto Rocca, and that Works Motorsports. Was Humberto helping you out tonight with setups? Because definitely Humberto was flying out there.
Wasn't he? Actually, no. I had my own setup, and I enjoy this track. So I had a plan to try to just, nail the whole thing, nail my pit stop, and I was hoping to finish ahead of Drew. And it was neat because I actually came out in front of him. Did you catch that?
We didn't catch you rejoining him, but we did see a bit of your battles with him, and we're keeping an eye on that. And then we saw his rollover that he had late in the race.
I saw somebody, and then I heard some radio chatter, and they were real nice about it. But yeah, I was disappointed for him.
Well, it does allow you to close up a bit in the Pro-Am Cup Championship standing, so you can't be displeased by that.
That's true. And I think did I win the Pro-Am podium?
Unless Robert Tarbox is in that class.
He is.
Okay, so Robert Tarbox was in third. He's wearing the wrong number, and he's not in the top 10 in classes, so I couldn't identify him.
Well, how about that? If I'd have finished in my second spot, I'd have had a second overall and a first Pro-Am.
Well, either how. Congratulations on your top 5 tonight, Julie.
Thank you. It was a fun race.
Alrighty. Well, congratulations to Julie. A very good run from her indeed. Let us now bring Robert Tarbox into the booth. Robert, very good finish on the podium, 3rd place today. Let's just make sure we get this part right. Are you in the amateur class or in the pro class?
For a couple of weeks, actually, I wasn't sure, but I think I was officially like they did correct it and put me in the amateur class.
All right. So, how about this race? I mean, in a race where everybody had some sort of problem or another, you come from way back at some point in the race early on and find yourself in the closing laps in third place. Tell us about your race.
Well, I qualified about mid-pack. I think it was ninth or 10th starting out, and like when we were on the second stint, I decided to take fuel and tires. I felt like that was the best because my God, does this track have a lot of corners? And yeah, I saw Julie and another, I think it was Drew, get into accidents, and all of a sudden I'm looking at it, I'm the third, and I'm like, when did that happen? And then I see Justin in my rearview mirror, and I'm like, oh God, this is it right here. I'm still kind of shaken from that last lap because it was like 2.5 second lead over Justin hitting that white flag, and I thought, oh God, he's got me, and somehow I held him off. And it feels good for me personally to get a third because the first time I was ever broadcasted on here, I think I was like 16th place. I wrecked twice, made the broadcast because of that, and was like 3 laps down. So to finally come back and get a podium, it feels so good.
We can hear that you're pretty excited. Tell us about, coming up to 130R every time, lap after lap. That is a really daunting corner in this particular car, hey?
Yeah, I ended up putting a little extra downforce in it. I saw a lot of people's setups; they were running pretty low wing, and I decided to go a couple degrees up on the rear wing. And when I was doing that, all I would do was just tap the brake and just let the car coast up to the, almost up to the AstroTurf. And I had to make sure I didn't hit it because I wrecked a few times in practice. And after I got it down in practice a few times, I started doing the race over and over and over again. Did the same exact thing every time, and I think I was nailing it.
Yeah. Well, I'm always interested to hear how people negotiate that turn because that is one of the fastest turns in racing. Robert, third place on the podium. A very, very good performance from you today. So congratulations on that. And we'll see you back for the final in a few weeks' time.
All right. Thank you, guys. Love your broadcast.
Cheers.
Thanks.
All right. Well, that is done and dusted. Do we have anyone else there? No, we don't. So let us close this broadcast on a race where, Kevin, we saw a lot of attrition, no doubt about it. Cars were struggling to get through. A lot of the top drivers, we've said before, struggling. So let's hope that everything goes much better, I believe, at Phillip Island, which is down my way in Australia, and for the grand finale of the series. We would like to thank a few people before we close the broadcast. Firstly, of course, we thank the great sponsor Woody's for sponsoring the series. Woody's supplies lures and flies for fishing. We also thank the organizers of the series, Jason Lundy and his team, for their hard work in managing this and of course the other series as well. We also thank iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, Behringer and Ava Media for providing the software and the hardware that we use for the broadcasts. Thanks also to the broadcast team today, Kevin, and of course director Joe Peak, and not forgetting the great camera set provided by Doug Beard. If you'd like to find out a bit more about us, GSRC, our website is www.globalsimracingchannel.com. Go there and you will find our full broadcast schedule along with an archive of races and also some race highlights. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. You can tweet us on Twitter where our handle is at GSR Channel. A very special thank you to Eric Echo, who provides us with some very good music that you hear on our broadcast. You can find it here with us but also in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you do like the music, tell Eric where you heard it. His handle on Twitter is @EricEcom. So that is it from us, Global Sim Racing Channel, here today. As we say at the close of each and every broadcast, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on track.